In 1981, Kenrex McElroy, a Missouri town bully who terrorized locals for decades, was shot dead in broad daylight. 60 witnesses, nobody saw a thing. Now, that story is a hit musical play. I gave the Southwark Playhouse production 5 stars, and today I'm sitting down with the cast and creatives as they prepare to transfer to the other palace. Let's talk about how they managed to turn 80s vigilante justice into theatre.
What is your emergency?
Please help me! Oh God, it's him! It's him! Please help me!
You don't scare me!
Look what you made me do.
Rex McElroy, I'm arresting you for assault with a deadly weapon.
That damn lawyer!
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the
Why should we believe anything you say?
Kenrex ain't going to jail!
Contempt of court, Your Honor! No further questions.
Hello, and welcome to the latest edition of the Screen One interview. Now, today I am joined by Jack, Ed, you might want to wave, John, as we go, who are the three people who have brought us the masterpiece that is Kenrex, which is just about to transfer to the other palace in London. So, hello, guys, welcome. Do you want to introduce yourselves individually and what your role is in the show for everybody, please?
I'm Jack Holden. I co-wrote the show with Ed and I perform it as well.
Yeah, my name is Ed Stambollouian, and I wrote the show with Jack, and I've directed it as well.
I'm John Patrick Elliott, and I compose the music and I perform the music live on stage.
Fantastic. So, it's hard to describe this show. I've tried to describe it before, and it's a true crime drama, and it is performed basically by you, Jack, and obviously John, you are supplying the soundtrack to it all. And that's all I actually want to tell people because they need to go and see this show because it's atmospheric. It's just amazing. So, where did the idea come from for this? Was it always envisaged as it is now, or did it kind of adapt?
We started quite a while ago. We Ed and I both love true crime as a genre. We listen to true crime podcasts and the true crime TV shows on Netflix and Amazon. And we started with the question of whether we could put true crime on stage. We hadn't really seen that before, and so we started workshopping ideas, and we settled on the story that is, it is the story of Kenrex, and that then we needed musical help, and so that's when we got in touch with John Patrick Elliott to bring it alive from a sound point of view.
But Jack and I had worked on, so Jack and I met when we were training at Bristol Old Vic Theatre School. Jack was
Mhm.
in the course, and I was director. And Jack and I met, and we worked on a couple of shows together, including another one-man show. And so we'd played around with the form before, and so we knew that we wanted to work on another one-man show. And John and I were at university together, and I knew John as a very talented, well, he sort of did everything, but he was also a very talented musician. And so I sort of brought the three of us together to work on this project. And so from the off, it was a one-man show. That was the challenge of it, was how do you take true crime and put it on stage with one performer and one musician?
So, John, when you came to the project, did you have any sort of ideas to go on? Obviously they'd shown you what they're going to do. So how did you craft in the music and did you know what you wanted to do with it?
Well, to some degree, I mean, the first time we were all in a room together was it like 8 years ago now or something crazy?
Something like that.
And we just like, I think you guys had written a little bit of stuff, but you mainly had the idea. And I then got into all the like S Town, all the like true crime podcasts that were massive at the time, and I just loved the idea of creating a live soundtrack that kind of weaves together in the way that those podcasts do, but you see it happening. So we see somebody kind of multitasking, and I think I
Mm.
brought to that first session a bunch of like random bits and bobs. It might have just been a guitar, a loop pedal, maybe a little synth. And then that got bigger and bigger. Every time we did more development on it, there was more stuff. And I loved the idea that it was this big sort of multitasking operation, in order to kind of keep up with the storytelling and what Jack was doing. And it's kind of just exploded out from there, really.
Because the music is as much of one of the characters as the many that Jack puts on the stage. I mean, it really is. I mean, you're sitting there watching it, and all of a sudden you just power out with a chord or something. I mean, you almost feel like you've been physically like slapped in the face as it happens. I mean, it's really atmospheric. So, I mean, did you know you were onto something with this, or is it just people's responses, or because it is really powerful?
Yeah, I think like the immersive nature of the audio that you're talking about was something we built quite recently, really, when we first put the show on in Sheffield, in the
Mm.
studio there, and then it's something we developed further when we brought it to Southwark, and will be even richer and more immersive at the other palace. And that was John's work, but also the work of our sound designer Giles Thomas, who created, a fully immersive audio soundtrack, so that you really are, as you say, you're kind of hit in the face with it and dragged into the story. And that speaks to the form of the true crime podcast, in that, when you've got your headphones in, you really are immersed in that world. And that world might be, on the other side of the world. And indeed ours is set in the American Midwest. And so John's very accurate Americana and bluegrass music really takes us there, and Giles's sound design kind of keeps us locked in there.
I was going to say we didn't know whether it was going to work. We fully didn't know. I knew that John's music was extraordinary. I knew that Jack's performance would be extraordinary. But the piece requires loads of imagination from the audience.
Mm.
It requires them to like get on board with the game of, right, this is one man, he's going to be playing 20 characters, and you've just got to get on board. And so that first night that we performed it in Sheffield, there was a lot of kind of crossing our fingers, because we just weren't sure how people were going to respond to it. And the Sheffield audiences really made the show. Like, them telling us what they were feeling through the show really helped craft what we were doing. So that was such a thrilling part of the process.
Yeah, and then that gave us a real head of steam coming to Southwark Playhouse. I think then, we were nervous again, because we were like, okay, well, it went well in Sheffield, but will London audiences take to it in the same way? And yeah, there's been such a strong buzz about the show. I think people, as you said before the call, people recommend it very, very evangelically to their friends,
Mm.
and to people who they think wouldn't necessarily automatically love theatre. It's such a cinematic and high octane show that I think it really is a show for everyone.
I think I had a sense, like that first performance we did in Sheffield, that it was working in the way that like theatre that I love, like smacks you in the face, like you say, Matt. Because one of the big guitar moments, I heard somebody audibly in the audience go, "Oh, bloody hell!" And then also later in the play, I won't say what happens, but something happens, and there was an audible gasp from a lot of people in the room, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is cooking."
I can ascribe to that, because when I saw it in Southern, there were moments when I literally went, and you just hold your breath, and you're sitting there going, "Am I going to breathe again?" Because it is that powerful. So Jack, I've got to ask, how do you not forget who you are? Wait, is it because of the microphone placement? Is it just because you've remembered it because you've done it so much? I mean, it is an incredible performance of who to be when, and the physical transformations, and it's incredible. How do you do it?
Well, good direction, good movement direction, and I think it's all about muscle memory. I think like it's a lot of words, but they are easier to remember because we've got such a strict choreography. Really, like every character
Mm.
has very distinct voice, but also posture and yeah, physicality and gait. So I guess my body is kind of moving faster than my brain is moving. So it's sort of, I've already arrived in a character's physicality, and then the voice that comes out will be the right character. But also, John's music definitely keeps me on rhythm and in the right place, and each area, each scene, each texture has a different soundtrack, and so that if I ever sort of lose my thread a bit, I can just sort of listen to John, look at him with sort of terrified eyes, and I remember where I am.
So you're just hoping that John doesn't suddenly go, I'll play something else just for fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you upscaling this for the other palace?
Well, it's a slightly different venue, slightly different configuration. It's a bit more added on. In Southwark, we were kind of wrapped around the stage a bit more, whereas
Yeah.
the other palace has got quite a steep rake. So everyone's going to feel quite a lot closer to the stage, I think. And we're all being given bigger toys to play with. So our incredible lighting designer, Josh Farrow, has a bunch more lights. Our brilliant sound designer, Giles Thomas, has a bunch more speakers. So it's going to look and sound better than it ever has done, bigger and better and badder.
But we'll be the same. We'll be the same size.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the door transformation when you're standing in the door in the shadow and you become Kenrex. That is probably one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen. It gave me nightmares. So yeah, are you excited? I mean, obviously you're excited, but are you excited to take it bigger? Can it go bigger than the other palace?
Yeah, I think there's a fine balance, isn't there? Because we want to, I guess you want to be able to see. We always talk about part of the show is seeing the endeavor of what we do on stage, seeing the sweat, seeing the work that goes into creating this kind of magic trick. And as John said, he's in his music corner with tons of different things. We want to see the whole sound world being created. And if you're too far away from it, I think maybe you might lose that magic. So there is probably an upper limit, but the other palace it definitely isn't anywhere near that. I think it's going to feel really intimate and exciting in there still. But yeah, I'm super excited about doing it again. I think there was a night or a day sort of in the second week of the run at Southwark Playhouse where basically the rest of the run just sold out, and then we had tons of people going, "Oh, I didn't book. Can I get a ticket?" And we were like, "Okay, well, we've got to come back then." And so to come back and to get the show seen by more people is just super exciting.
So when was the decision made that you were going to bring it back again? I mean, do you get to the end of it? Because again, for both of you, it must be quite physically draining doing all of that. Basically, that's just the two of you every night for however long the run is. So was it? Oh, we're going back into it, or are you sort of ready?
I mean, it's easy for me in a way. John's got a newborn baby, so
Oh,
it was actually how was the end of Southwark for you, John? Because that must have been a new, tiring experience.
It was, but it's like the show is so intense in like you were saying about the rhythm, Jack. It kind of like it sort of propels you along. Like once we're into it, you can't not keep up, and it just sort of I found that energy was always there. It was the weird extreme of then going straight home whilst you were like busy mingling with everyone and hanging out with all these cool people, and I'd just be back at home like this.
Yeah. No, it's exciting, isn't it?
I'm very excited, and I'm excited for us to offer the London theatre crowd a very different Christmas show.
absolutely, yes. Yes, interesting timing, it being around Christmas. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely going to get people food for thought, that's for sure.
It's not your average Panto, so
No.
it's going to be offering something a bit different at Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting if people start shouting out, "Look behind you!" I mean, or it's behind you. Yeah, yeah, that'd be quite interesting, really. Yeah. So, so what is next after Kenrex? Have you got other plans? Have you got anything else together you've got putting together, or is it Kenrex for the foreseeable?
Well, John just did a great, composition job at the RSC. So, we all sort of go off and do our own things.
Jack's just about to open a show at the Almeida, an adaptation of a novel called The Line of Beauty. So there we go.
Yeah.
Talking each other up.
Talking each other
But the plan is to get back in a room, the three of us, and all work together on a new project as soon as possible. We are in the very, very early stages of working on a play about space,
Oh,
possibly even set in space.
mm,
And we're working on but because Kenrex as a true crime story was such a buzz for us, we're looking
mm.
at now a British crime story, adapting a true British crime story for the stage as well. So there's loads in development, and we're excited to see what's next.
Excellent. So, um, also with Kenrex, does the other palace? I know we've been talking about how it's great that it's going up. Does it present more problems at all? I mean, you said about if it goes too big, obviously you lose the intimacy and the depth of it all. So, what were the overcoming problems of at the other palace? Were there, if there were any at all?
I don't think there are any problems. I think every space has new demands. I think when we moved from Sheffield to Southwark, that was quite a distinct change actually, because in the studio at Sheffield, the audience were kind of on ground level, then a balcony level, then a very high balcony level, and they were wrapped around quite far. So it was quite a weird distribution of audience there. Then in Southwark, there's no balcony levels, obviously, so it was all just they were just in one big block and felt quite close actually suddenly. I think the actual stage footprint in the other palace is smaller still, so I'll have slightly less distance to cover, which pleases me. But no, are there any other issues?
No, not that we know of yet, but we haven't got
Not yet.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully there isn't. I was just curious to know if because like you said, different venues bring different challenges. Dare I say that word?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But the magic of this show is that at its core, even though it's a very technical show, it's a highly technical show. But at its core, it's just Jack and John on stage doing their
Yeah.
thing. So I think we're lucky in that we can be a little bit adaptable to different venues and different spaces and sizes of playing spaces.
Yeah, and as long as we can get that dynamic range between really, really loud when we want it to really, ultra intimate, quiet sound, then I think it will work.
So just before we go, can the three of you give me reasons why people watching this ought to come and see Kenrex? Apart from reading my review, which I will link at the bottom and everybody should do because it's a 5-star review. And you should just buy tickets anyway. I shouldn't really have to advertise it, but I would like you guys to, this is your 3-minute window to get people to come and see you at the other palace. Away you go.
So Kenrex is a show for true crime fans, for fans of live music, because it feels a little bit like a gig at times. John is an extraordinary musician, and it's a really fun night out. For true crime fans, for genre nerds, people who like genre cinema. It feels like an action movie at times. It's fast paced and furious and a bit scary. It's funny and moving. And we've been talking about it as theatre for people who think maybe they don't like theatre. And yeah, so bring people you want to convert to big theatre goers, because that's what we believe it will do.
Yeah, I think people, the audience comments are the things that kind of are the best testimonies for the show. And someone in Sheffield said to me that they went in and they came out from the theatre after the second half and they felt like they had travelled to Midwestern America for a couple of hours. And I think that's it. Like, it is so immersive and so transportive that in the depths of winter, take a trip to the American Midwest.
John,
Anything from you, John?
tell it.
I had quite a lot of family come to both runs actually. One of my cousins said after one of the shows, that's the most I've used my imagination in the last 10 years. And I just love that about it. I love that it's like a workout for our imaginations, because so much of a lot of what we consume is not doing that, and it just sort of gets fed to us and that's it. But I love that Kenrex makes people lean in and really like engage their imaginations. The audience meet us halfway in that respect. And I also think people should bring friends and tell them they've booked tickets for a feel-good Christmas show. Just see what they do.
That's perfect. What you're saying about the imagination thing, that is really true. You really do just sort of becomes this technicolor. It's almost like the Wizard of Oz thing when you go from when they open the door and it goes black and white into color. It really is that. I think also from what you said, Joe, I put in my review, you could almost smell it. It was that real in there. So yeah, so as we finish this wonderful interview, make sure everybody you start booking your tickets because they will sell out. I'm fairly certain that you're probably well on the way to already selling out. Get yourselves to the other palace. It's quite easy to get to. It's near Victoria Station. You can walk. Get there, get your tickets. Honestly, get and see Kenrex. You will have the most wonderful time and an experience that is like no other in London theatre at the moment. So I would like to say thank you to Jack, to Ed, and to John for your time. This has been wonderful. Everybody, make sure you see Kenrex, and we will see you next time on the Screen One interview. I'll be catching Kenrex at the other palace and bringing you my thoughts. So subscribe so you don't miss it. And while you're here, why don't you check out this video?